So, namaste sabhi ko, and so we will officially start the session. Uh, I have sent the introduction to about Vikramji to everyone, but I would still read it out again. So, Vikramji is a chemical environmental engineer, and he's currently he did his PhD and masters in from Virginia Tech. He is also founder and CEO of an environmental consulting practice called Peace USA. And also, he is a keen student of Yoga, Bhagavad Gita, and Vedanta. Vikramji has given many sessions all around the world. He has his own YouTube channel as well. He is also a lifestyle coach. The link is given in his introduction, satwa.life. So you could go there as well. You could go also to watch his videos on his YouTube channel. If you search by Dr. Vikram Pattarkine, you would see his YouTube channel. And he has spoken vividly on various topics. And today we have invited him to make this session especially interesting for children. So here I give it to Vikram Dada.
Thank you, Kirti, for the introduction. Everybody who is present here, my namaskarams to you. I hope we'll make this interactive. I don't want to keep talking and do it like a monologue. I was requested to speak about chapter number 12, but I'm going to tell you the background also. So if I tell you the whole story, then how we got until chapter 12, that will become more clear. And then chapter 12 will make a bit more sense. So Bhagavad Gita is composed of 18 chapters, is what you might have heard in the past. Bhagavad Gita happens to be a small passage in the entire Mahabharata, which is the Itihasa or history of Bharatvarsha. Okay? So about 5,000 years ago, there was a kingdom in Bharat, which was of the Kuru Vansha. Kuru Vansha means Kuru dynasty. In that Kuru dynasty, there were two brothers. The one brother was blind, his name was Dhritarashtra. He had 100 children, 100 boys. Hmm? And then another brother called Pandu, who had 5 children. They were called Pandav. They were actually all Kaurav. But Dhritarashtra, when he asks Sanjaya, the very first verse of the Gita, he says, Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavashchaiva kimakurvata Sanjaya. So he says, Hey Sanjay, please tell me on this Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, what is happening between Pandavas and Kauravas? He says, Mamaka Pandavaschaiva. Mamaka means mine, means Kaurav, and Pandavaschaiva means the kids of Pandu. They are also Kaurav. But Dhritarashtra is calling them as Pandavas. They were not called Pandavas. They were all Kauravas. They were all from Kuru dynasty. But because there is a sense of separateness between Dhritarashtra and Pandu, Dhritarashtra doesn't consider him as his kin. I mean, of course, he is his blood relative, he is his brother, but still, because there is a tussle between Dhritarashtra's children and Pandu's children about the kingdom, Dhritarashtra keeps referring to Pandu's children as Pandavas. They are both Kauravas. Okay. So the moral of the story is whenever there is a differentiation between me and the other, then there is a conflict or there can be a conflict. So all of you children, you and your parents have a very strong bond, right? Your parents think of you as a part of them. That's why you have love for each other. So whenever we have a sense of togetherness, whenever we have a sense of unity, there is a sense of love. But whenever there is a sense of otherness, then there is conflict or there can be conflict. So even though Dhritarashtra and Pandu were brothers, even in the first verse itself, the seeds of conflict are sown. Whenever there is a notion in my mind that I am separate from the other, that's when I will always have that sense of conflict in my mind. Anyway, so in this battle, the Pandava army is led by Arjun, who is the greatest warrior of his time. He has never lost a battle. His other name, or one of his names, is called Vijay. Vijay means he has never lost a battle. Okay. So obviously he's going to win the battle. He has never lost a battle before. But when he comes to the battlefield, he gets confused. Why? Because Krishna the charioteer, brings the chariot in the middle of the war, in between two armies, not in front of Duryodhan Dushasan, who are the sworn enemies of Pandavas, but in front of Dronacharya and Bhishmacharya. Dronacharya is the guru of Arjuna, and Bhishmacharya is father's uncle. So then he gets confused, and he asks Krishna, he says, if I kill my guru, if I kill my father's uncle, I will incur a lot of sin, papa, and then this will not be good. So then Krishna says, listen, all of these relationships happen between us, individuals, because we identify ourselves with our body. Okay. So in this body, I am my father's son, my guru's disciple, and my. Uh, did anybody want to ask any question? No. So the confusion is when we identify with our own body, then with respect to this body, we have parents, we have grandparents, brothers, and we have cousins. Correct? Krishna says to Arjuna that listen, okay, it's okay for you to feel that you are this body, but you are not this body. This body is an agglomeration or a conglomeration or a coming together of the physical elements. Besides the physical elements, the real you, the Atman, which means the essence, is not related to these bodies. So there is a fundamental teaching in the second chapter where Krishna teaches Arjuna that you are not just this body, you are Atman. Atman means the essence of who you are. Okay. So this never dies. So who are you going to kill? You will only cut the body, but you cannot cut the real self or the real Atman. So that is the teaching of the second chapter. But Arjuna doesn't really understand all this big talk. So he says, Krishna, you are saying that, I'm not the body or I'm not this material existence, but then you are still asking me to do this ghor karma. Ghora karma means such a dust, what should I say? It's a bad task. Okay, bad task meaning you are going to ask me to do this battle and kill my cousins and kill my father's uncle and kill my own guru. So why are you asking me to do that? So thereafter, Krishna will teach you, or Krishna will teach Arjuna many different things about how we should do our work, how we should do our work without being attached to the work as the doer. He will also tell us how that work will liberate us, how doing our own duty will essentially give us the knowledge of who we are. So we have to keep doing our duty depending upon where we are in our life. So for example, you happen to be students. So as students, what is your duty? Your duty is to study. Your duty is to learn many things that are taught to you. Your duty is to respect your parents, isn't it? So those are the duties depending upon where we are in our life. So everybody has a duty towards the family, towards the nation, towards the environment, towards the society, right? So when we are fulfilling those duties, we should do those duties without any expectation, or the desire for a selfish gain or a selfish result. All of our work has to be for the greater good, not for fulfilling our selfish desires. When we act in such a manner, then it is good for not just the society but also for us, right? So you must have seen in your house that your mother will cook for you, but will the mother eat first? The mother will give it to you first, right? Is it not? So think, when we do things for others, then that gives us more joy than doing things for our own self. That is another principle we learn. So first principle we learn in the Gita is, I'm not the body. The body is changing constantly, but I am the Atman, which is the essence. And that essence is not just the body. The body is a part of that, but not all of that. Okay. Unfortunately, most of us think that this body I am, within this body I am, and outside this body is the world and all of these people who I see. That is the general notion. Okay. But I'll tell you one other thing. See, even if you think of this body as I, okay, and every other body as somebody else, that's okay. Let's think how this body got created. How did this body get created? This body is really the transformation of all the food we have eaten. We all eat 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, correct? What happens to the food that we eat? Some of that food is utilized for getting converted into energy. So that animates us, correct? So food is getting converted into energy, number one. Number two, some of the food is getting converted into our body tissues, correct? So the protein we eat gets converted into muscles. The fat we eat may get deposited as fat in our body, or it can get burned as fuel. Carbohydrates, same thing. Minerals, they are utilized by the body for various reactions within the body. So that's how food gets transformed within our body. And then the remainder of the material we have consumed gets excreted, either as solid, as fecal matter, or as liquid, as urine or sweat, or in gaseous form when we breathe out. Some of the material that the body wants to throw away will get thrown away. So food coming in, water coming in, air coming in through breathing. And then energy, body parts, body tissues, and waste material. So this is how is constantly happening, right? In our life. This is how it happens. Now you tell me that, I don't know which grade students all of you are. Are they all really young children, or are they all slightly older? I don't know. But anyway, I'll explain in very simple terms. So whatever material the food contained, that material gets converted into our body. That much you have understood? But where was that material before it became food? It was either in the soil, or in the air, or in the water. Correct? So it was a part of the planet. So that material, when it was soil, water, or air, we used to call it the planet. And then through the magical process of photosynthesis, that whole material got converted into food. So the same material which was earlier called the earth is now being called food. And the same material, when it is converted through the process of digestion and metabolism, one piece of material is called Vikram, another piece of material is called something else. Correct? Now, if we were to all look at this planet from somewhere else, say from Mars or from somewhere else, and we didn't know what was going on, what we would notice is some things are coming out of this planet, somehow springing out of this planet, just like the little plant comes out of a seed from the soil. In the same manner, many things are coming out of this planet, they are moving around, and then eventually they will get again buried in the same planet. Correct? This is what somebody looking from outside will observe, which means all of us, everybody, you, me, and the next person, and the plants, and the fish, and the insects, and everybody, they all come out of the womb of Mother Earth. That's why we call this earth as our mother, Mother Earth. With me so far? So now it has been established that all of us, at least our physical bodies, are simply the children of Mother Earth. We have all come out of the womb of Mother Earth. That's why she is our mother. So we have now understood that this earth is our mother based on purely scientific principles, based on pure chemistry, based on pure physics. Understood? Now, this body is not purely earth. Besides earth, there is something else that is making this piece of earth talk to that piece of earth. You're still with me? What is that thing? That thing is called life. So I am alive, you are alive, she is alive, he is alive, all of us are alive. This aliveness is common to all of us. This aliveness or the principle of life we can consider as the father principle. So we have a mother principle, which is the earth, Mother Earth, and then we have a father principle, father life. When my father and your father, life, and my mother and your mother, earth, they are the same. What does that mean? That means that I am an Indian and every Indian is my brother or sister. Isn't that what we learn? It's not just if you happen to be Indian that you are my brother or sister. Everything on this planet, every human being on this planet is my brother or sister. Not only human beings, but also other creatures. Dhaneshwar Maharaj, who is a great saint in Maharashtra, he says, Vrukshavalli Amha Soyari Vanachare. He says, even the plants and the little creepers, all of those things, they are our kin. They are related to us. Even though they appear to be different, they have the same material, Mother Earth and Father Life. So when everything appears in this universe as a combination of Mother Earth and Father Life, are we not all related to each other? When we think of each other like this, when we know of each other like this, that is when love and harmony is established through fundamental principles. Nobody has to tell you that you should love your neighbor. You will be in love with your neighbor because you will not see your neighbor as apart from you. You will see your neighbor as your brother or a sister. This is the highest experience of human life, which Gita tells us. So, anyway, Krishna has told Arjuna all these things. Then we all wonder, and Arjuna also wonders, how did this whole thing come about? I see this phenomenal world in front of me. I see all of you. I see these trees. I see these plants. I see aeroplanes. I see motor cars. I see all kinds of wonderful things in this world. Who has created all these things? So, our parents tell us, our elders tell us that God created all these things, which is great, wonderful. Then who is God? Tell me. So, then Krishna tries to explain what God means, what Ishvara means, when starting from 7th chapter all the way to the 12th chapter. So initially from the first chapter to the 6th chapter, Krishna tells us about how we should operate in this world, how we should act in this world. He keeps telling us about several things as a part of that whole story. But then eventually Arjuna is curious to know who this Ishvara is. What is the nature of God? Okay. So Krishna explains to Arjuna many different things in which he explains that the essence of everything is God. The essence of everything is Krishna himself. So the greatness of the Himalayas, or the sweetness of sugar, or the essence of anything. What is the essence of sugar? Sweetness. What is the essence of Himalaya? Greatness. What is the essence of water or ocean? Water. What is the essence of anything? In fact, one of the things he says is when you see the greatest of all warriors, that quality of being the greatest warrior, who is that? When is it manifested or where is it manifested? In Arjuna himself. So the qualities of Arjuna, the warrior qualities of Arjuna are because of Krishna. So if you see anything great anywhere, that greatness is basically Krishna's greatness. So up to here, Krishna has brought the story. Then Arjuna asks him, he says that, you have explained to me this greatness, but I see you as a person. So what is better? Should I be worshipping you as a person, or should I be worshipping you as that greatness, or that as that abstract? So in the 12th chapter, Krishna tries to answer the question which Arjuna has asked. He says, which one of your devotees is more dear to you? The one who worships you as a deity, as a person, or the one who worships you as the essence of all? It's a very difficult question. Are the essence and the person different from each other? They are the same, are they not? Unless the essence is there, the personality will not even manifest, is it not? Unless I am there, I the son to my parents, or I the brother to my sister, or I the father to my children, will that appear? No, I have to be there first. Only then all these other relationships will be manifested, right? So it is very, very difficult to answer the question whether the person who is worshipping Krishna as a human being or as a deity or as a personality, whether that is greater, or whether the one who is knowing the essence of who Krishna is and is always immersed in that, who is greater? In my opinion or in my mind, they are both the same. They only appear to be different. They only appear to be different. Because even if somebody walks into your life and you don't know who they are, okay? If they are worshipping in their temple or in their home or in front of a deity or in front of an idol, all you will see is that a man is sitting in front of a temple or an idol and is doing something, right? So this is what we will observe. But what the inner experience of that person is, we would never know. Is that not? Think. So even if you are sitting in your bedroom on your desk and you are appearing to be studying, whether you are really studying or not, will your mother come to know? Your mother will think that you are studying because you are sitting on your desk and you are doing something, either on your computer or on your notebook. This is what we will see. But whether you are actually studying or not, only you know. Correct? So even if a person is appearing to be doing some worship in front of a deity or in front of an idol, whether that person is feeling that love towards Krishna from within or not is known only to that person. Correct? So it is very difficult for us to tell which one is better than the other. I can tell you one thing for sure. Even if you are not studying, even if you are sitting on your desk and appearing to be studying, at least you are not doing something worse than that. Correct? So even when somebody goes to the temple and does the worship there, or does the chanting and does the kirtan and does the dancing or whatever is the ritual, nobody should have any objection to that, even though they may not agree with it, because a lot of times people will ask us, why are you doing all these things? These look like superstitions. Is that piece of stone your god? Is that idol your god? No, that idol I can cut. That idol I can destroy. Will that destroy your god? Well, if I think that that piece of stone or an idol is God, that worship or that feeling towards that piece of stone or the idol makes it divine. The stone by itself, if somebody else who doesn't have that kind of feeling towards that, will be only a stone. It will not be a deity. That stone becomes deity because of the feeling that that the devotee, not the deity but the devotee, has towards that piece of stone. So there are two kinds of worshippers, two types of people who will worship. One will worship, one will appear to be worshipping an idol, but whether that person has the feeling of I am worshipping the Lord, I am worshipping Krishna or not, that will be within them, that will be known only to them. What we should do is we should only look at what we are doing or what we are thinking. We should not be judgmental about what somebody else is doing. Let them do what they do. But whether I am doing the right thing or not, I can check. Is that not true? So whether we worship an idol or whether we worship the deity as the idol or whether we worship the divine manifested in every form or the essence of everything behind whatever is manifested. In both cases, it will be considered bhakti or love. In both cases, it will be worship. In one case, the worship is being done thinking, imagining the Lord or the divinity or the Ishvara to be apart from us. Or in the other case, it will be done without considering the divinity or Ishvara as apart from us. And even when we do consider the Ishvara or the deity as apart from us, we experience the deity within us. Even though the idol may be in front of me. So for example, behind me, you can see the pictures of Krishna and Arjuna, correct? Where are you experiencing them? That image is going through your eyes, through your retina, it's making an inverted image and then it is going into your vision center within your brain and there something is happening. That is what you are experiencing. So then you know that there is an image in front of me. So even though the image is outside here, it is experienced within me, in my mind. In the same manner, the entire world is experienced by me within my mind. So even though the deity might appear to be apart from me, the deity is experienced within me. And when we experience that divinity within us, when we experience that sense of unity with all of us, between or among all of us, then in our behavior, in our speech, in our thoughts, there is nothing but love, which is bhakti, which is. So, for example, last thing I'll tell you, and then I'll take some questions. You consider this finger to be a part of yourself, right? So, I consider this finger to be part of myself. Will I cut that finger and eat it? I will not. Why? Because I consider this to be a part of myself. Anything and everything you consider to be part of yourself, you will never destroy it. You will never hurt it. In the same manner, when we realize that this entire world, entire creation is actually experienced by me within me, so this is all within me. This is a part of me. When I understand it in this manner, then I will not hurt anything around me. I will not do that. So the principle of ahimsa or non-violence will be manifested through my life because I have understood everything to be a part of me. I will not hurt it. So this is how bhakti or devotion towards not just the deity but everything around us is generated within the devotee's heart. So this is how I understand bhakti or devotion from a, I would say, modern perspective. If you would like to ask any questions regarding that, that would be great. I'm not claiming to be the world's greatest scholar or authority on this. All I have told you is what I have felt from my own heart after doing a little bit of study and some practice and some contemplation. So I hope this makes sense to you. So if you would like to say something, then you may raise your hand or ask for unmuting, and then you can ask a question, and then I'll be happy to talk about it a bit further. Kirti, what do you say?
Yeah. Anyone has questions? Or you want to ask anything?
Not just Bhagavad Gita or chapter 12, but just about anything. We can just have this as an interactive session and chatting in general about Gita. If you want, I can go through those 20 verses of chapter 12 one by one very quickly. It will take only 5 minutes, and we can see if something is not very clear. And I'll be happy to talk about it. So let me bring this closer to me. I'm going to try to open
I
that
have one
screen.
question.
Go ahead, Kirti, please.
So when we say that everything is part of us, then why do the war or yuddha?
Why do the war or yuddha? Correct. You see, even though everything is a part of us, the world is going to happen in a certain manner. And in this world, we have a duty. So at this point in time, say I'm talking from the point of view of Arjuna, at this point of time in my life, a situation has come where I have to stand on the side of dharma or what is right, and I have to protect what is right or what is dharma from those who are opposed to it or those who are deliberately trying to destroy it. In that case, I have to do my duty as a kshatriya and protect the dharma or stand on the side of dharma to defend itself from adharma. That is the reason we have to act in the world. Now, what Krishna tells Arjuna is you should fight because of this reason, but don't get confused about this is my cousin, this is my father's uncle, and this is my guru. If they are on the side of adharma, then it is your duty to fight with them. See, Arjuna's confusion was you don't know, I can kill a guru or I can kill a father's uncle or I can kill a cousin as long as they are your cousins, not my cousins. So Arjuna will be happy to kill anybody because in the past he has killed many people in many kinds of battles, right? He has never lost a battle. And battle means what? Battle means the enemy is completely vanquished. So Arjuna has been a great warrior all his life. But now in this battle, he is getting confused because he has to today fight with his guru and fight with his father's uncle and fight with his cousins. That is the problem. The moral of the story is we have done all kinds of diplomacy. We have tried to avoid war. Krishna has done all kinds of diplomacy before the war began. But the other side has declared with emphasis that you shall not get the land which will stand on the tip of a needle. You will not get even that much land unless you fight. Now, what is the choice? You have to fight. That is the problem. So, that is why we have to do our duty while we are here. And Arjuna was a Kshatriya. So, he was responsible for protecting the kingdom, protecting the people who were bothered by the Kauravas. So, that's why Arjuna had to fight. And he did. In fact, he tried to tell Krishna that I won't fight. Because if you fight, then, in this war, so many people will be killed. And then thereafter, all the women will be abused and things like that. All kinds of things he tried to tell Krishna. Krishna said nothing doing. You have to do your duty. So therefore, the moral of the story is, even if the duty may be difficult at times, we have to all perform our duty to the best of our ability for the greater good, not for any selfish desire or a selfish gain. So even when, if you look at Ramayana, for example, in Ramayana, although Kaikeyi sends Rama to the forest because she wants Bharat to become the king, Bharat himself is not interested at all. Bharat rules the kingdom on behalf of Rama by keeping Rama's sandals on the throne. And he is only a manager. He doesn't claim the kingdom to be his own. So that is the kind of upbringing, that is the kind of teaching we have received as children from our childhood. So we need to look up to these heroes, look up to these events in our history, in our itihasa, and learn from them. So therefore, we have to all conduct our worldly duties, but with a sense of devotion, non-attachment, and no selfish desire. That is the teaching of the Gita. I hope this answers your question. If you want further clarification, I'm happy to talk about it.
There is a question in the chat.
Go ahead, please. What is the question?
Why was Gita made as a conversation between Arjuna and Krishna? Why wasn't it just made a series of things people should or should not do?
Okay, why are we doing this Zoom program as a conversation? Because when we converse with each other, at that time the concepts get clarified. See, if you read the book, can you go and ask the book anything if you have a doubt? No. But if you have a conversation between the teacher and the student, I'm not saying that I'm the teacher. I'm just saying that I'm relaying to you the message of Gita which I have learned. Okay. So if there are any doubts, if there are any confusions, then we can chat about those. We can try to understand where we are lacking in our understanding. We can clarify our own perception. That's how anything is learned. So when you go to school, the teacher doesn't give you just the book and say that, okay, you read the book, you do the homework. No, no, no. The teacher will engage with you in a conversation. So that's why the Gita is presented as a conversation. In fact, most of our Upanishads, the essence of all the Vedas, essence of all the wisdom in the world, essence of all the knowledge in the world is presented to us as conversations, because those conversations will be more meaningful. It's like a story. You see, all these things are told to us as a story because, not because of the story, by the way. Now, how many of you have your little brother or sister in the house? Sometimes your mother will tell you, why don't you put Munna to bed? So then what do you do with Munna or with your little brother or sister? Do you go and beat them up and say, oh, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep? No, no, you don't do that. You will either sing to them or you will tell them a story, and then gradually they will fall asleep. You all must have experienced this, right? So what was the moral of the story? Was the story told for the story itself? No, no. The purpose of the story was to put the little baby to bed so that the baby will fall asleep. That was the purpose of the story, isn't it? So in this same manner, this story of Gita or the story of Mahabharata is explained to us because we should realize who we are. We should realize what our duties are in today's world. We should realize who God is. We should realize how we should live in this world to realize our own true nature as Atman and the nature of Ishvara. Okay, so when we realize all these things properly, then we act in the world properly. That is the moral of the story, not the story itself. Yes, Gita could have been told just as a series of do's and don'ts. It was told as a conversation to make it more interesting rather than just telling you a whole list of commandments. Thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do that, thou shalt do this, thou shalt do that. No, it is told because during this conversation, there are so many queries and questions and doubts that get answered in the whole process. That's the reason this whole story is told. That's why this is a story rather than just a series of do's and don'ts. That's a good question, though, by the way. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I would request to put your names and if possible, make your videos also on so that,
Yes.
it's even more interactive. We have a face to talk to. There is one more question in the chat.
It says, why did we make? Can you read that question again? It
Yeah.
disappeared on
Why
my
did
screen.
we make the gods we worship the way they are?
Uh-huh.
They could have looked or been like other things, but why this?
Okay, so maybe the question is, why did we make gods the way they are? You see, we don't really make anything. Okay, so if you have an idol or if you have a piece of stone or a piece of wood in front of you, because of the feeling you have towards it, the way you look at it, it will appear to you as God. But for somebody else, it will appear like a piece of stone or a piece of wood. Is it not? So whether somebody or something is a God or is God like is a feeling in my mind or is an experience within my mind. So if you ask 100 people, what do you mean by God? Or what God means to you, you will probably get at least 100 answers, if not more. Okay, so for everybody, the meaning of God is different. You see, even in our own case, as I gave you the example before, I am the same person, but to my parents, I am their son. To my wife, I am her husband. And to my children, I am their father. So have I become three? I have not become three. I am the same person, but I appear to be three different things to three different people depending upon how they are looking at me. Does that make sense? So, why did we make God the way we made it? We will make God the way it is convenient or the way we relate to it or we relate to Him. So, Krishna is considered by Arjun as his cousin. For how long? For 86 years. So Arjun was 86 years old when this war happened, Mahabharata. And Krishna was 89 years old. So all of Arjuna's life of 86 years, Arjuna kept on looking at Krishna as a cousin. Because Arjuna's mother, Kunti, and Krishna's father, Vasudeva, they were brother and sister. So Krishna was Arjuna's mama's son. So that is how Arjuna was used to looking at Krishna. Arjuna was not used to looking at Krishna as a divine incarnation at all. During the Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that I am divine. So that's when Arjuna is very sorry actually. He says, all these years I have not really understood you the way I should have understood. I was looking at you only as my cousin, as my friend, and I have called you all kinds of names. So I'm really sorry about that because I didn't really recognize who you were. So uh, Krishna kept on appearing the same. Did Krishna's appearance change after that? After that realization? No. Krishna's appearance remained the same. Earlier, that same appearance, Arjuna was saying he is my cousin, but now he is completely convinced that he is not just my cousin, he is actually divine. He is the incarnation of divinity. He is the personification of all that divinity. So that experience came in Arjuna's heart. Nothing changed as far as Krishna was concerned. Krishna was already divine, but Arjuna never thought of that. So, in the same manner, we may look at a piece of stone or a piece of wood and we may think of it as a stone or a wood. We never know about its divinity. When we realize its divinity from within, that's when it becomes a deity for us. So, that's how it is. So, the gods are not made by anybody other than us, ourselves. So in our culture, there is a concept of Ishta Devata. Ishta Devata means the deity of my choice. So I have the choice to see the deity in the manner I want. So that's why each person will have a different kind of manifestation of that same deity. Even Krishna says in one of the chapters that, you may hear about many other deities, but then even if you are worshipping those deities, you are actually worshipping me because they are like my assistants. So I have given them various different departments. So for example, I am the prime minister and I have many ministers who are under me. So if somebody has to get something done with the railways, then he will go to the railway minister. If somebody has to get something done with the water ministry, then he'll go to the water ministry. He will not go to the prime minister. Correct? But even then, the entire government is controlled by the prime minister. Correct? Or in case of Germany, it will be the chancellor. Correct? That chancellor is in charge of the entire government. Under the chancellor, there will be many other departments. So we may go to different departments for getting specific things done, but ultimately they are being done in the name of the chancellor. In the same manner, the same divine principle appears to different people in the manner in which they need. That is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma. So everybody is essentially divine. We just don't know our own divinity. That is what happens. So if we forget where we have come from, if we forget who is animating us, that is when we become dukkhi or sad, or we are in sorrow. But when we realize that no, our essential nature, the Atman, is divine. It's not apart from Krishna consciousness. So that's when we become truly joyful. So if we all want to be joyful, we should realize that. How to realize that? Study the Gita. Keep doing your duty without selfish gains or selfish interests. That is what Gita tells us. Excellent questions. Thank you. Any other questions you may have?
Anna and Abir also has a question. You can ask, unmute and ask.
You have to unmute. I'm going to allow you to unmute yourself. Go ahead. Unmute.
Namo Nama. We want to know as children what is important, karma or bhakti?
Great. Fantastic. As children, what is important, karma or bhakti? I would say both and equally important. You should do all of your karma as bhakti, in the sense ki whenever you do something as karma, if it is done for the benefit of the totality, all of us, if that work is done not for just your own self glorification or self aggrandizement, if it is not selfish, then each karma, every karma can become worship. Why? Because whoever we are doing this work for, say if you are doing this something that your mother told you to do. So in our culture, we've been told that mother is a manifestation of God, Matru Devo Bhava. If we are doing something for the father, we've been told that Pitru Devo Bhava, means father is a manifestation of God. So if you are doing something for the mother, you are ultimately doing it for the deity. If you are doing it for the father, you are doing it for the deity. So when you do anything and everything you do, not just for your father and mother, but also for your teacher or somebody who comes to visit you. So we have Matru Deva Bhava, Pitru Deva Bhava, Acharya Deva Bhava means teacher, and Atiti Deva Bhava. Atiti means somebody who comes to your house, some guest, right? Plus, if you are working somewhere now, at such a young age, you have a startup and you have an office and you are doing something interesting. So when you are doing something at your office, or when you are doing as a company for a client, then you should consider that work as worship. So work and worship go hand in hand. Why? Because of the knowledge, jnana, that everything is basically divine. when we do our work with this attitude, then karma, bhakti, and jnana, all of them come together. So Gita wants to teach us that same thing. Gita wants us to do things with great love, with the knowledge that whoever we are doing it for is not apart from us, is a part of us. So when we understand this, when we work in this manner, then karma and bhakti will come together. So as children, you should do what your parents tell you. Do them happily, do them joyfully. Whatever they ask you to do, you should do them joyfully. You should not say that, no, no, I don't want to do this now, or I'm not interested in doing this. You should not do that. If they tell you to do something, it's for your own good, especially when they ask you to study. No, no, you should study. You should not say that, no, no, I want to go watch IPL or whatever. During the study time, you study. IPL, you can see the recording later if you want. So those who have come here to study the Gita, even though there is a cricket match going on, I came to know that it was raining in New York. So Bharat-Pakistan cricket match is postponed. I don't know for how long, but we shall see. So congratulations to all of you who are here now in spite of a big cricket game happening on the other channel. Any other questions or comments?
Atharva has a question. Atharva, unmute and ask.
Go ahead.
What was Arjuna's karma in the war against the Kauravas?
What was Arjuna's karma in the war against Kauravas? Arjuna's karma was to defend dharma. Arjuna's karma means duty, I would say, in this case. Initially Arjuna thought that, if I kill my cousins, if I kill the Kauravas, if I kill my father's uncle, then it will be a pap on my account, right? It will be a sin. Krishna explains to him that this is your duty to fight right now. And he understands that. At the end of it, Krishna asks, has your delusion gone? Has the confusion in your mind gone? So Krishna says, yes, the confusion in my mind is gone. Now I'm going to fight. See, whatever Arjuna told Krishna at the beginning of the Gita, that he will not do. Arjun says, I'm not going to fight. I'm going to keep my bow and arrow down. I'm not going to do anything now. Whatever he told Krishna, I won't do this, I won't do that, I won't do that. All of those things he did eventually. And he did them with great devotion to Krishna. So he did his karma, he did that with bhakti, and he did that with the knowledge that fulfilling his duty as a Kshatriya was the highest virtue, punya, that he could do. But if he had not done that, then he would have incurred sin or papa. So that's what he does at the end of the conversation between Krishna and Arjun. Very good question. Thank you.
I have
So,
one more question.
One
On
last
children's
question, because
behalf.
we are
Yes.
all at the top of the hour, so we will
Yes.
have one more question and then we can stop. Go ahead, Kirti.
So when, as a child, when I'm told that I need to, prepare for the test tomorrow, but my friend is waiting eagerly outside to play with me, what is my karma? And my feeling of wanting to go and be with my friend, is it wrong or right? And how
Correct.
should the child handle
That's a
it?
good question. So if I'm the child, if I'm the student, and if I know that tomorrow is my exam and I have to prepare today, then I should not be tempted if my friend is outside waiting for me and wanting me to play. Because you should be able to tell your friend that today I'm not able to play with you. I'm happy to play with you, but tomorrow after my exam. So that should be the answer. So today, because I have to study for my exam for tomorrow, my duty today as a child, as a student, is to study today. Because timing is important. You cannot play now and then study after that, because you will be too tired to study. So if there is an exam, you have to make sure that you are prepared for the exam. And then after the exam, there is no problem. You can go and play. So we have to first fulfill our duty, and only then we become eligible for enjoyment. That's what the Gita teaches us, and that's what we should learn from the Gita. That before taking anything for ourselves or taking anything for our own enjoyment, we should contribute first. In the 3rd chapter, Bhagavan says, Yajnashishtashi nasanto muchante sarvakil vishai bhunjate te tvagam papa ye pachanti atma karanat. Which means we have to contribute something first before we take anything from the world. So our sense of duty comes first, and only then the reward. If we go only for the reward, what is the reward? Go to play. What is the duty? Study. So you have to do the duty first and then think of the reward. So that's the teaching of the Gita, and that's what we need to learn from it. So shall we stop now, Kirti? Thank you.
Dhanyavad Vikram Dada. Very, very useful session. And also thank you for taking it to children's level.
You are most welcome. Happy
I
to.
hope children enjoyed it.
Yes.
And so I would like to hear from the parents or the kids. In short, how did they like the session?
You have to unmute if you want to speak.
Yeah, and would you like to attend more sessions like this?
If you would like to hear more stories, let me know and I'll be happy to come back. Any questions or comments? Okay, no, it's okay. So then we'll conclude here. I'll say the concluding shlok and then we'll stop. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Namaskar.